From DebbiesDesignDiary.com, this is Serial DIY, one house repurposed, week by week. In this episode, I attempt to recreate a $1,500 Shibori chair from Anthropologie for under $100. Check out the original chair in the link below and let me know in the comments if you think this was a success or a fail. I lowered the camera about 5 inches and I did not brush my hair or put it in the hot rollers today. If you watched my last video with Jamie Ray Vintage, they said that I need to be less of a control freak. See that chair right back there? I got it at a consignment store. I want to make it look like this chair that I saw on the Anthropologie website. The chair on the Anthropologie website cost $1,500. I thought that we would just paint this one instead. The thing is Shibori is a tie-dye situation where you take the fabric and you twist it up and you dip it in the dye. It would be really hard to take off the fabric, but it won't really actually be Shibori because this is not a slip cover. We're gonna use Hey Sailor. I added a little bit of black to it to make it darker. And then we're gonna use vintage linen. We're gonna use these two colors together and we're gonna use the spray bottle. One of the secrets to painting fabric is to water down the paint and spray down the fabric until it's fully saturated. DIY paint has 5 times the pigment compared to most paint brands, and it's clay-based, which is ideal for painting upholstery. I started with a small paintbrush, dabbing it on in a pattern to mimic the Shibori chair from Anthropologie. I studied the photos on their website as I painted this. I'll put the link down below. I diluted the paint with water about 50%, painting in sections and spraying again with water to let the colors run together a little bit. Allow the paint to sink into the surface of the fabric like a dye. Work the paint in with your brush to avoid letting the paint sit on top of the surface. This will prevent cracking and a hard, crunchy texture. I repeated this process working around the chair in sections and using the photos as my guide. Because the paint was diluted with water, I allowed the paint to dry completely and went back over some areas where the fabric was not completely covered. The number of coats will vary depending on the color of your original fabric and the shade of paint that you choose. Can you see it? It looks like a spray bottle, but it is a mister, and the paint comes out like spray paint. I put watered down paint in here, just a little bit. It will help you blend the paint together and give you more of a graffiti type of look. You can get it at Hobby Lobby. I'll put the link down below. Dion gave it to me from the Turquoise Iris.
Staying on Wilshire Boulevard, old dreams dying hard. You want to return.
I put a diluted mix of vintage linen in one bottle and a diluted mix of Hey Sailor in another bottle. I sprayed over my design alternating color to create some overspray and blur the lines between the colors. I was going for a graffiti/tie-dyed look. However, I wasn't completely happy with the chair at this point. Then I tried a sea sponge to bring in more variation. The look was okay, but the color transition was not as organic as I had hoped. I kept working on the chair, adding more detail, fussing with it, but I was beginning to have doubts if I was going to scratch the video altogether. Have you ever been working on a project and you know that something just isn't quite right, but you can't put your finger on it? The transition between the white and the blue just seemed too harsh. I was ready to give up on it, and then I saw this tutorial from a DIY paint retailer who's in Fayetteville, Arkansas. She painted this amazing chest that looked like it was all these shades of blue and gray and white, and they were blended together perfectly. It was swirly and soft, and in that tutorial she showed me how to blend the colors together and how to make the transitions a little bit softer. If you're interested in Jennifer's tutorial, I'm going to put the link down below. Her business is called The Scenic Route, And now I'm going to show you how I blended the colors together thanks to Jennifer.
Hard to leave with you still on my mind.
Jennifer's tutorial is all about creating a color gradient. She uses small detailed brushes and alternates between colors, blending the shades together so to create a new color in between the two contrasting colors. I use this method to make my color transition softer and more organic, and it made a big difference. You can see here I have two brushes, one with white and one with blue. I'm going back and forth with both to blend and create a lighter blue. This is just the basics. Check out Jennifer's link. She goes into a lot more detail.
It's all for you. It's all for
Can you see? I sanded it. We're gonna put the dark and decrepit on the legs. I'll go get the dark and decrepit. See, it's really dark. It's a water-based stain and it doesn't smell and it dries really fast and it's gonna make it look really, really good. I sanded off the honey-colored stain on the frame of the chair and brushed on dark and decrepit for a darker look. Dark and decrepit is water-based, no VOC, dries very fast, and is odor-free. What if you sit down on it and you're wearing a wet swimsuit? If you're wearing white pants, is the paint gonna rub off? I get all kinds of questions like, can you paint microfiber? Can you paint leather? Can you paint it white if it's originally black? I get asked that question all the time. This chair is different than the velvet sofa. It's super velvety and soft. It doesn't crack, it's not crunchy. The paint doesn't come off when you sit on it. It's a totally different method. You're gonna have to watch the video about how I did this if you want to paint velvet, because this is different than the chair over here. This chair feels more like canvas. It's not crunchy and the paint doesn't crack because I watered the paint down. You can use wax to seal it. You can use Big Top to seal it. You can use something called liquid patina. You could probably seal it with a sealer that you buy at the hardware store. I'm gonna use the Big Top right here. Big Top is a low sheen water-based sealer. I diluted this with water again so that it would sink into the fabric and not sit on the surface, just in the same method that I use for the paint. Big Top will deepen the color slightly and seal the paint in. However, I would not suggest this for painting velvet. If you want to paint velvet, I created another video and a blog post. The link is below.
I don't cross my T's. I don't dot my I's. I won't say pretty please.
I have not rewarded myself with any new shoes lately because it was getting kind of out of control. So this fall in Fairview, Tennessee, I'm teaching a video workshop. The Turquoise Iris will be there teaching a paint workshop. Zeb and Jamie are going to be there teaching how to build your own brand. It's a full day of workshops, and if you have a creative business and you're just getting started, or you already have started your creative business and you want help with social media and video making and paint classes, we are teaching a full DIY day camp in Fairview, Tennessee this fall. Come meet us on September 18th in Fairview, Tennessee for a full day of DIY day camp workshops. To find more information on tickets, to find DIY paint in your area, to sell DIY paint in your store, and to find the paint tutorial by Jennifer Ross, all links are below. Thanks for watching.